Please state your full name. Which one should I use? Kai Markingham. I say, society status, aberration. How did you learn about the Rising? My father was a member of it for a long time ago. I say, how did he find us? From a map found in the carving. I hope that its answer is giving the same one she did. As always, I didn't have enough time, but I must trust my instinct and trust hers too. Was there anyone traveling with you other than the two girls who came earlier on the boat? No, I say. This one is easy. I knew Cassia will never give Eli or Hunter away, no matter how much she wanted to believe in the Rising. The man leans back, his voice even. Now, he says, Kai Markingham, tell us more about why you came to join us. After I finish talking, the man thanks me and leaves me alone for a few moments. Then he comes back and stands in the doorway. Kai Markingham, yes. Congratulations, he says. You've been assigned to work as an airship pilot and sent to the Kama Providence to train. You'll be a great service to the Rising. Thank you, I say. You'll leave late tonight, he says, pushing open the door. Eat and sleep in the main hall with others. He points to one of the large tenants. You've been using this camp to gather escapees like yourself. In fact, one of the girls you came with should still be here. I thank him again and make my way to the hall as quickly as I can. Push open the flap of the tent. She is the first person I see. Indy. I'm not surprised. I thought this might happen. But my heart sinks away, and I hope to see Cassia again here, now. But will I see her again? Indy sits alone. She sees me. She moves down to the table so that there's room for me at the end. I walk past the others eating and taking about their assignments. There's a few girls, but most are boys. And all of us are young and wearing black plain clothes. In line for the food as formed at the opposite end of the tent. And I want to talk to Indy. I sit next to her and ask the most important thing. Where's Cassia? They sent her back to society, Indy says, Central, where Xander is going. She spears a piece of meat with her fork. Cassia still doesn't know his secret, does she? She will soon enough, I say. He'll tell her. I know, Indy says. How did they send her back? I ask. By airship, Indy says. They sent her to a work camp where someone in the Rising can filter people back into society on a long-distance train. She's likely all the way to Central by now. Indy leans forward. She'll be fine. The Rising checked her data. The society hasn't even reclassified her yet. I nod, leaning back. Cassia must be disappointed. I know she hoped to stay with the Rising. How was the run? Indy asks. How long? I say, how about the river? Poisoned, she says. Start laughing, then, relieved to have the confirmation that Cassia is all right from someone who, in spite of everything, I trust. Indy joins in too. We made it, I say. None of us died. Cassia and I fell in the river, I say. But we seem to be fine. Thanks to the rain, I say. And my piloting, she says. They notice you. Indy says, you're going to matter to them. Be careful. She nods. I think you're going to run, I tell her. I might surprise you, she says. You have before, I say. What's your work assignment? They haven't told me yet, she says. But we'll leave tonight. Do you know where you're going? Cadmus. If I had to go someplace away from Cassia, Cadmus is where I'd fix home. I might be able to find out what happened to Lainey. Apparently my data indicates that I was going to be a good pilot too. Indy's eyes widen. Of an airship. I'm clarified, nothing more. Indy looks at me for a moment. Well, she says, and I think I hear a teasing note in her voice. Anyone can fly an airship. She points them in the right direction and pushes a button. It's nothing like running the river. Even someone as young as Eli could. She stops, a playful tone in her voice gone, and she puts down her fork. I miss him too, I say quietly. Put my hand on top of hers and hold tight for a moment. Never told them about him, she whispered, or Hunter. Neither did I say. I stand up. I'm hungry. But there's something else I have to do. Do you know when you leave tonight? I ask Indy. She shakes her head. I try to come back in time to say goodbye and tell her, Cassia didn't want to leave here without saying goodbye to you. Andy says, you know that. I nod. She told me to tell you she knows she'll see you again, Andy says, and that she loves you. Thank you, I say to Andy. I keep waiting for society to fly low and blank over the lake. They haven't yet. Though I know it wasn't what Cassia wanted, part of me can't help but to be glad that she is out of the thick of the rising. To blend in here, it's all right to show urgency and purpose. Others walk to board the airships and pack tents. I don't have to keep my eyes down. I nod to others as we pass. One thing I can show here is despair. Even as the night comes and still haven't found what I want, I don't allow any worry to show in my face. And then at last I see someone who looks right. Cassia doesn't look to sort people. I'm all too good at, and I worry I'll grow to like it too much. It's a talent I share with my father, and all it takes is a misstep or two for the talent to become a liability instead of an asset. Still, I have to chance it. I want Cassia to have those papers to trade back in society. She might need them. Hello, I say. The band isn't packed yet. Someone who has to stay to the end. Someone low-ranking enough that he's not in attendance at the late-night meeting with those deciding strategy. Someone who manages to be useful under the radar, incompetent but not excellent. It's the perfect position for someone who is or used to be an activist. Hello, he answers, his expression blank and polite, his voice pleasant. I like to hear of the glorious history of the rising, I say. He's quick to hide his surprise, but not quick enough. And he's smart. He knows that I saw. I am no longer an archivist, he says. I'm with the rising. I do not trade anymore. You do now, I say. He's not quite strong enough to resist. What do you have? He says, glancing around almost persistently. Papers from within the carving, I tell him. I think I see a gleam in his eye. They're near here. I'll tell you how to find them. And then I need you to get them to a girl named Cassia Reyes, who was just sent to Central. And my fee? You choose, I say. It's payment no real trader or activist can resist. Any selection you want is yours. But I know that they'll what's there, and you'll find out if it takes more than one. I'll turn you into the rising. Activists are honest in trade, he says. It's part of our code. I know, I say. But you told me that you weren't an archivist anymore. He smiles. It never leaves you. Meeting an archivist made me late, and I don't get to say goodbye to Indy. The airship she's on begins to pull away in the last of the sunlight. As it does, I see that it's been burned and damaged along the bottom, and as though it's tried to land somewhere and people don't want it to be, and it was fired upon. The decoy guns couldn't do this. I think I'm looking at one of the airships the farmers tried to take down. What happened to that ship? I ask someone standing next to me. I don't know, he says. It went out to fight nights ago and came back like this. He shrugs. You're new, aren't you? You'll learn that you only know your assignment. It's safer that way if we get caught. True enough, even if I'm right about that ship got burned. It could be something other than what I think. Maybe the rising came down to try and help the farmers, but they thought the ships were society. Maybe not. The only way I can figure out how this works is by living on the inside. The archivist finds me a few hours later, just as I'm about to leave. I step away from the group and talk to him for a moment. It's confirmed. He says, she's back in Central. I'll affect the trade immediately. Good, I say. She's safe, they said they'll take her back, and they did. 1 point for the rising. Did you have any trouble? None at all, he says. Then he hands me the stone I carved with the scales. It seems like a pity to leave this behind, even though I know you can't take it with you, he says. The rising is similar rules to society. No unnecessary possessions. It's a beautiful piece of work. Thank you, I say. Not many people know how to make letters like this, he says. Letters? I asked. Then I see what he means. I thought I carved ripples on the waves or scales, but it really looks like I carved sea over and over again. I put the rock on the ground and marks another place we've both been. Do you ever teach anyone? He says. Only once, I say.